Terry. I'm coming to you from the field today.
Big fan of that, by the way.
This one, I can't. This was AI before there was AI.
Okay.
It's
GarageBand.
It's simpler than GarageBand. It's a very old piece of software that is still kicking, still fun. It's intuitive in the way that music stuff can be intuitive, which is to say that it's not intuitive. But it was an attempt at going from, we're going to have a sequencer where you have a line of steps, and then those things, there's a note on each step, and that interface has lived from the late 70s to today on like a drum machine or a sequencer or something like that. And this was an attempt to get a little bit away from that. And it was mixed, but there's something about using old software that still makes a cool sound. And there's I wouldn't want to use old word processor. I wouldn't want to use an old email client. But for music, I'm like, man, the old software, particularly if it's just a control interface and then it's controlling samples that sound good. Samples sound like 2024, but the actual interface is really old. Something nice about that to me, because I think it's funny. I think it amuses me.
We should do, in honor of Pat coming on to talk about video games, we should do intro, outro music should be a couple vintage video games.
Chiptune. It's a whole genre now. Do you know about this? Have you ever heard chiptune before?
No, but I think I'm getting ready to learn.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave it there. How many nights a week do you reserve for fun?
For sure, Tuesday, which happens to be today. Band rehearsal, yeah, big fun. Band rehearsal is a lot like this, and that I can go in. I have very long days. This is no mystery. I can go in fried, my mind fried, and leave 2 hours later and feel like a normal human being. So it's band rehearsal is very fun for me.
Why do you resist calling it band practice?
It feels high schooly.
What did you ever have a band that never rehearsed but had band practice and it didn't really work?
Never rehearsed and had band practice. Yeah, we called it band practice.
It just didn't click.
It didn't. You reach it. For me, it's the same thing with calling a female companion at this age my girlfriend. I just feel too old to call it that. I feel too old to say band practice. So it's rehearsal.
Have you heard partner?
Mm-hmm. But that has other connotations.
Well, it depends on who your audience is. I mean, I heard the first time I heard partner, which I guess I think I was too old for partner because all the youngs brought it in and they were saying partner. I'm like, you're not married, but you have a committed life partner. So I had a series of questions. It was first, so you're saying that this is a non-married spouse situation. That was my first question. And then my second question was, it's a domestic partnership in the circa 2005. This must be a same-sex thing. I was wrong on all counts. It was literally just the vocabulary for girlfriend had changed.
I like the term, but I always feel the need to follow up with additional context, and I get tired of that because, so like my brother is 2 years older than me, and he's been in a domestic relationship with the same woman for 15 years now. They're not married, and I can't call her his girlfriend. I just can't do it. So I say partner, but then I have to follow up with, she is a chef, blah, 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 blah. The identifier to distinguish.
To clarify that it's a heterosexual relationship.
Correct. Is that unnecessary?
It depends on where you are and who you're talking to.
Well, is it unnecessary? I feel like I should be the one that answers that question because it's me that's uncomfortable with it. I have a number of those scenarios. We could do a whole segment on that. Like things that I feel I need to qualify in conversation that probably I don't need to qualify in a conversation.
Well, I think episode. I think that is the purpose here, is to get at what are all of the things that Terry is socially uncomfortable with. Why do you have a social tick about X, Y, or Z thing?
Yeah.
And try and unpack it.
But
I mean, it's not. Oh
everybody
yeah,
does.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just honest about, like, I will talk about, I hate talking about myself, but the peculiarities around human interaction or just living life, I don't mind talking about. But like me, what I do, what I enjoy, like, because it comes across as having taken myself way too seriously, and I definitely don't want to do that.
All right, so you have band rehearsal on Tuesdays.
Uh-huh.
Do you go on dates on a particular night?
It varies.
You like fine dining, so you must
I
go to
do.
restaurants at some point.
Let me qualify fine dining. It so happens that I don't like I hate pretentiousness, the whole wine presentation thing when you order a bottle of wine. I tell the server, just pour the wine. I don't care. If it's bad, we'll figure it out. I like all that pretentiousness, the sort of formality of fine dining, I can't stand. But it tends to be that if you want creative and interesting food, you either go to food trucks, street taco, street vendors, or fine dining. Like the mass middle, the normal distribution of restaurants, I don't care for. So I don't necessarily like fine dining, but that's where I end up a lot if I want to have something I can't cook at home.
When was the last time you went to Cheesecake Factory?
I do not remember. I think I've only been one time, and that was in Chicago when I was in my early 20s. The same one that Chris Farley lived above.
Has Red Lobster come full circle to where it's such a holdover of not great dining that it's back to where you can just enjoy a cheddar biscuit again?
Yeah. There are things that you can get at Red Lobster that aren't bad, like off their fresh catch thing or whatever. I
So you've
can't
been to Red Lobster more recently than Cheesecake
for
Factory?
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
But I can't remember when that last time was either. I mean, it's been a
I've been
while.
to Cheesecake Factory many more times. I like cheese more than I like lobsters. That's a thing you might not know about me.
I can see that.
Yeah. I mean,
I
lobsters are good too, but cheese is superior.
I like how lobsters used to be peasant food and now it's a delicacy.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, that's what, like, even the impoverished, I think it was Irish immigrants, they tried to feed them to workers, way, way, way back. And they would reject it. Lobster was viewed as garbage.
What do you refer? How do you call the smaller shellfish that lives in local bodies of water and can be found under a rock?
Crawfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up calling them crayfish.
Mm. I've heard that.
They're now crawfish generally.
Yeah.
And I've never been in Camp Crawdad. It's never been a crawdad sayer.
I think if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, are you interested in the origin of all the different fish terminology
Yeah.
origins?" I'd be
Yeah.
all in. I want to know.
Regional vocabulary. That's a topic.
Yeah.
So all right, so you're gonna go to Red Lobster and you're gonna eat some Red Lobster, and it's a date night, so it's not Tuesday. Which days are you gonna be in there most likely? Are you a weekend party person?
If my daughter's here, probably not.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I like to go. The weekends are days that if I know I don't have work obligations, so Friday and Saturday night I like to do a little something, but I'm also not opposed to staying at home.
Right.
So there really, to me, is no distinction in day. It's just the event, and I try not to do anything Monday through Wednesday, just because the days are so long, and I don't want to have that extra glass of wine and feel like hell the entire next day. So Monday through Wednesday are generally take it easy. And by take it easy, I mean just work, and do things at night.
Take it the opposite of easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel like do you ever, you strike me as not the type of person that's ever working towards the weekend. To me, it seems like all 7 days, it's just a day.
That's 100% the case. 1,000,000% the case. Uh, I made the comment the other day. This is something I'm really interested into, like the scientific origin of this. But I had certain days of the week had feelings attached to them. I knew the day of the week based on, was it routine or I don't know. So that was for a large part of my life, even into early adulthood, probably the past 15 years, 10 years. I don't know what day is what day. I mean, I know what day it is because I can look at a calendar and see what day it is, but there's no feeling associated with any day.
Well, I mean, were there good and bad feelings with the day, or was it more just the general nature of it's, today is the Lord's day of rest. Today is the day when we begin the week. Today is the day when we end the week. I'm asking because I want to know what leisure actually even looks like for you.
So I'm really, sometimes I get freaked out at the synergies of our thought process because you went to the Lord's Day and leisure. I was going to reference probably one of the 2 or 3 best country music songs ever written. Chris Christopherson wrote it. Johnny Cash made it famous. Sunday Morning Coming Down. The sentiment that's in that song is 1,000,000% my feelings of my sort of the way I felt about Sunday my entire adult life. There's the childhood version of Sunday, which is another discussion, but like the Sunday feeling in that song is what I've felt about Sunday my entire life. So to answer your question, there really is no, as there's no distinction between days and how I perceive them or my awareness of what the day is by a feeling. There's no specific day that's dedicated to leisure. There's no time that's dedicated to leisure. It's sort of just a function of default. Oh, here's a 3-hour block. Let me not do anything for 3 hours, or go out with a friend or meet somebody new or something like that. I have a lot of routines. Baked in leisure is not one of them.
Do you consider your exercise regimen to be more leisure or more work?
Yeah, so great question. Really, really good question. Yeah, that's my leisure. It really is. The gym, I love being at the gym. Love running. So that stretch of time in the morning, I go for a run. It's a 15-20 minute run. I come back and eat breakfast. I go to the gym. That's 2-hour stretch is my favorite time of the day, hands down. Hands down. I love it.
So that's your recharge time. That's your rest time.
I think so.
Is it fun? I mean, to me, it doesn't sound fun, but that's because I don't enjoy those things.
It is fun, but it's a different, we have different categories of fun. I think you find satisfaction in tinkering and.
Well, I'm looking for yeehaw fun. Like I want a mechanical bull ride and like a big party on Saturday night. That's fun for me.
I do.
Sorry, that's not true. That's my fun archetype. It may not actually apply in reality, but that's what I imagine I should be thinking about.
You don't live that way though.
Ferris wheel, cotton candy,
Kings Island,
skee ball. It always comes back to Kings Island.
Six Flags. Well, people live for that. Gum. That's the thing. You're asking very benign discussion about leisure, but I think it's an important sort of, because this is how I live, to make it a little bit more esoteric. I think most people live for the leisure, and I'm not a big fan of that. I have enjoyed in the past, like the concept of leisure that you just referenced, where it's
party time,
Six Flags, club, blah, blah, blah.
Pizza parties.
Yeah.
So when did they beat that out of you?
Oh no, it's more. I feel like it's more an evolution. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's my justification of it. I'm not satisfied by that stuff. Like it's not a personal satisfaction for me. What I like my archetype for leisure today. There's the daily thing, but my archetype for leisure today is an intimate dinner with a small group of friends, or a wine club or something like that, a small group of people that are really interesting people. And it's like a volleyball game of ideas and discussion. And maybe there's too much wine consumed. That's my idea of leisure.
So not necessarily a lot of direct excitement or thrills, but lots of enjoyment and satisfaction.
Very fair.
Do you still seek thrills in some way?
Well, I get thrills in different ways. Like for me, we talked about the gym earlier. For me, one thrill is to be able to do things physically or athletically that are presumably absurd for someone in my age range, or of any age range. Like I get thrills out of challenging my body physically, or like the discipline of doing something that I shouldn't be doing. Like those.
And these are things that you just kind of enjoy on your lonesome. Like, so you're running down your run, and you see this bench. It's kind of high, and you're like, I'm gonna jump over that bench, and you like work it up in your mind. You work and you practice, do a couple jumps on the run, and eventually you're like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna jump that bench, and you've mock jumped the bench enough times that you know you can get over the bench, and it's Terry versus Terry. It's like
100%.
you know how ridiculous you're gonna look if your toe catches. You're gonna go face forward. You're like, I'm gonna make certain that I don't do that, and I'm gonna get over that bench. And then at the end, you'll be mentally pumping your own fist, being like, I did it, thrills. Terry still got it.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. Nor do I approach it like a David Goggins promotional video. For
You
me,
don't have like a little mini Super Bowl trophy and like touchdown celebration for yourself after something like that gets done.
no.
So
So
you just don't care about the thrill. Like this is you're in it for the accomplishment, not for the thrill.
is that bad?
No, I'm not. It's not bad or good. It's just when I think about a NASCAR race and a victor of a big race, the Daytona 500, doing donuts with the American flag hanging out the window and flinging dirt all around and making smoke and noise, and everybody's whooping and hooting and hollering, and there's champagne popping. That's the celebration of the thrill of victory in my mind. That's a thing that's, well, let's say sports people are seeking that. What you're telling me is that it's more of an inward contemplative, personal growth moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there are a series of subtle versions of. It's the subtlety of, um, like there's a subtler version, more subtler of what you just described, and I've got a million little instances of that, really through days and weeks. So it's the ability to, what you described, a NASCAR driver, they've won the 500. That's in a very acute representation of their job, and there's things that they've been committed to. I have a bunch of sort of less dramatic examples of that, but a bunch of them through the course of the day. So finishing, for example, the trip to Europe in November, I spoke at a conference in Berlin, flew to London, did a record. That to me is a thrill. That's an absolute thrill. But it's not that what you just described. It's a series of kind of a pain in the ass, but ended up being something like I look back on that as one of the highlights of the past 5 years.
So it's a slightly slower burn,
It's
not quite the big hot flame out.
right. Yeah.
Well, I think this just says that you're not a junkie. Like you're not chasing the next high.
I try not to be a junkie in any aspect. And that doesn't mean that I'm boring. And it doesn't mean that I'm like, uh, a prude or anything like that. It's just I know where the line is, and I have no trouble like, oh, here's the line. I'll stop here. Now
Don't you guys still play shows?
we do, yeah,
And do you find it thrilling or satisfying to play a show?
satisfying. The thrill for
Dang.
me, the thrill for me is writing. The thrill for me is writing. Shows are kind of a pain in the butt. That's
I
no
mean,
lie.
they say you're going to be one or the other. You either want to write, you want to be in the studio, or you want to perform, and that
I'm
they're not necessarily all the same person.
I'm the former. So for me, like we just did this record. It's mixed. It's being mastered right now. For me, it's done. Like I've moved on past this record. There's no I need people to hear this. I mean, I want that to happen and I'll do some steps to make that happen, but for me the thrill of the process has already occurred. Now we'll do a release show and do a few things. But that stuff to me, the coordination of loading equipment out for no pay, loading equipment into a club at 10 o'clock at night, that's more work than it is thrill. It's fun, but it's more work than thrill.
Wow. All right. So I mean, I feel like I haven't found fun or relaxation in your leisure time. Really, I found little micro leisure, but like, and the record and the Europe trip seem like they're the closest we're going to get to that blend of deep, satisfying, worthwhile and fulfilling event, as compared to like kid scores a goal in the soccer game and finds that fun.
Yeah, really interesting comparison. um I think I don't know. I think there's for me the things that I experience that I've never experienced before are what, if I'm a junkie for anything, it's new experiences, new ideas and new experiences. And for me, that's fun. For me, that's the pinnacle of fun. But there's no, the watching the game at the bar and the team that I'm rooting for wins, that left a long time ago. And any version of that, like there's no,
Wow. You're not, leisure is not inherently satisfying in the fulfilling sense, right? So leisure can be relaxing, leisure can scratch an itch, leisure can be something that you like, but the stuff that you're looking for fun out of, there's no version of fun for you that doesn't involve, you put some effort in, and then you get to enjoy the fruits.
I think
You know what
it's
I
the
mean?
same. I think it's the same for you though. When
Yeah,
I
but I'm talking about, I'm just following through on the leisure of binge watching Netflix versus the non leisure of only watching nature documentaries on Netflix, or the not whatever the non leisure might be. Also, I want to be very clear about this. Like day to day, I have as many hours of leisure as I want for the most part, partly because I seek it out, partly because I need to recharge my batteries, partly because for a long time I thought that work less, leisure more was a worthwhile objective.
it is.
It turns out that work at the things you like, and they won't feel like work as much, and do the stuff that you enjoy and make sure you have time to charge your batteries. That stuff all matters. But like, the did I have a fun time because we had did I went whitewater rafting and it was novel? No, I'm totally with you on that. That's, this was the fun seeking stuff of my youth that I like, I basically don't care about it at this point.
Yeah. You're interested though in similar things, probably different variations of the same things though. You enjoy tearing a speaker apart and rebuilding it. You like to tinker. There are your sources of satisfaction and enjoyment, leisure, are maybe outside of the mainstream as well.
I
Or
leisure to me, I'm imagining leisure as I'm on a deck, facing the ocean or overlooking a mountain vista, and I got a cocktail and I'm kicking my feet up and it's some hard-earned R&R. You know what I'm saying? And I don't particularly relate to that at this point in my life, because I just squeeze the R&R stuff into the middle of a day.
Yeah.
Like if my commute is relaxing, or if I'm going to use a Terry example, if my morning run and feeling the sun break the horizon across my face, if that's my battery recharging, I don't need to go take a beach trip and pack all the stuff up so that I, drive from Kentucky to the ocean so that I can have my toes in the sand so that I can feel the sun come up there. Like the ratio of making a production of getting to the thing that's going to relax me versus the living in the moment and being relaxed in a moment when you can, the balance is like off, right? So the way to not drive yourself nuts is don't spend your whole year working towards that one vacation you're going to get for a week at the beach.
Phenomenal point. I do enjoy beach trips though, but for slightly different variation of what you just explained, but it's a phenomenal point. I think to me, that's success. To me, that's success. The ability to build into your day what you want is success. At whatever dollar value, your material value you're comfortable living at, the ability to make your day look like what you want your day to look like is success.
If you had tons of money, like money didn't matter at all to your livelihood, would the state of your leisure change?
No.
If you had near unlimited dollars?
Nope. I would do different things. I would probably,
but the nature of it wouldn't change though.
At all. I would paint more. I would write more. I would probably try to do stand up. I mean, there are a million things that I would try to do if I didn't have to work like I do for an income. I enjoy my work, don't get me wrong, but if the scenario you just explained were there, I would still find things to do.
I would give it away, but only partly in service of giving it away. I would also be giving it away as an exercise in trying to learn stuff and meet people and have interesting experiences. And like I would be giving it away to find these sort of like eye-opening aha moments.
So in line with this conversation, the night, I've referenced this a few times, but the night that my brother and I were in DC and the three of us went to a show, we had dinner and went to a show. To me, that
was a very high energy show. Should have been thrilling.
It was, but it wasn't the experience of an arena rock show from youth. It was a different level of satisfaction. But to me, that entire evening, leisure. That's leisure.
So we saw Lightning Bolt. Had you seen them before?
That was that was like their reunion thing. I mean, they've played shows here and there, but they're an older band. They're a '90s.
And had you seen them the first time around?
I had never seen them. Yeah.
I gotta say, man, like their shtick. They had several shticks, but one of their shticks is that the drum kit is as close to the edge of the stage as possible. And I had two very different shows. I had the back row show at Lightning Bolt,
where I was.
Then I had the up close show at Lightning Bolt, and I came back there and I'm like, well, I don't know what to make of this from the back row, but from the front row, I think I get it, man. Yeah. And the dude used to play with his drum set on the floor. Yeah. Like he didn't even go on stage; just play the whole freaking set
with a mask,
the floor, and a telephone microphone stuck in the middle of it. Like I said, there's a lot of shticks.
Yeah,
art metal,
noise,
art rock,
yeah,
noise, art rock.
Yeah,
go see Lightning Bolt. Maybe don't listen to their music, but go see Lightning.
Do listen, especially if on a run trying to jump a park bench or go to the gym. Do listen to Lightning Bolt. The opening acts were awesome too. Awesome. They were good. They were good.
They made me think. They were thought provoking.
Yeah,
some catchy stuff in there.
They were more art school nerds than Lightning Bolt, but
well, yeah. I mean, Lightning Bolt was 25 years older.
Correct. Yeah, a little wiser.
What are you gonna go? What are you gonna go do tonight? And what are you gonna do as your next leisure activity?
Band
Is it
practice.
Gonna be a chunk or just incidental? So the band practice.
Band practice rehearsal.
So I'm sorry for calling it practice.
It's all right. That's my night.
Okay. I'll see you next podcast practice then.
Awesome.
Hold on, let me get my outro music prepared. Are you ready for the field outro?
I like that your location has no bearing on the ability to bring us in and take us out. All right. High tech. Love it.